Good morning. This is Dylan Jovine with Behind the Markets. Happy Tuesday. Today's Tuesday, the 2nd of December. Hope you are looking forward to the rest of the week with me. Today, I'd like to talk about crypto, Bitcoin. What happens is we have a lot of new customers and they are always asking us, why don't you have a crypto product? Why not this? What do you think about Bitcoin, the stock? I usually just avoid Bitcoin and crypto questions because it's above my pay grade. Maybe there are much smarter people in the world that have figured this out. I can't figure out the benefit of Bitcoin, but there are a lot of smart people out there who swear by it, so here we are. Anyway, I'd like to talk about Bitcoin because our questions have increased as it has gone down. It collapsed to, 90,000 or 80,000 from 120, 130. It has collapsed. They're calling it the Bitcoin collapse. They're saying that this is different. This trade is different, this unwinding, this collapse. I don't know if that's true or not, but I'll tell you something. Firms like MicroStrategy, it's actually named Strategy now. And, this was a short waiting to happen. This is a company that their whole goal is to act as a, Bitcoin treasury company. That means that they're buying Bitcoin for you. You could buy shares in their company and they'll buy Bitcoin in the open market. And that's their big idea. That's their strategy. But the problem with that is, let's say they own $10 billion worth of Bitcoin. Strategy was trading at 2 times what they owned. So $20 billion. So if your mission is to buy Bitcoin, the stock price of your company shouldn't be trading at 2 times the asset you have. Okay, that's just not rational. If I was a guy who shorted stocks, I would have hammered this. You can't have a company trading at 2x its asset value. It doesn't make any sense. Why would you pay them a premium, 100% premium on the asset they hold? That's not logical. Maybe a 5% or 10% premium for managing their money, but that's even more expensive than you can get an ETF that just goes buys Bitcoin and charges you 1%. So why do they get a 100% premium just for managing or holding or buying Bitcoin? It makes no sense. So again, if I was a guy who shorted stocks, I would have hammered that. You knew it was overvalued. Why didn't I do it? Why didn't I short Strategy? Mass delusions can last a lot longer than my bank account. This is what I have learned. But anyway, and the Bitcoin argument falls apart. It's really funny. At first, it's currency, which didn't make sense. Currencies shouldn't be volatile. That doesn't really function well. For example, let's say that I wanted to buy your car using Bitcoin. Now, if Bitcoin, let's say Bitcoin was going up every single day, I wouldn't want to give you my Bitcoin in exchange for your car. Okay, that's it. And conversely, if Bitcoin was going down every day, you wouldn't want to take the Bitcoin in exchange for your car. So it doesn't really work as a currency. Logic just never really worked for me. It's just not logical. I understand that. It's above my pay grade. And then it was a hedge against inflation. It's like gold. Okay, let's try that one out. The problem is that gold tends to go up in times of panic and stress. Bitcoin tends to go down in times of panic or stress. So it does not act like a hedge. It just doesn't act like that. So what is it then? It seems to me that it is a solution in search of some problem. Now, I understand the use case for Bitcoin, especially for criminal organizations, et cetera, but even that has gone away. Back in the day, apparently, you could anonymously send Bitcoin out to people, but now, unless you're walking around with a little USB cord, it's recorded everywhere. Everyone's got to record their Bitcoin buys and sells. It's crazy. Why do I think Bitcoin is going down? It's most likely a couple of reasons. One is they changed the tax law. So a bunch of people are going to have to pay taxes on Bitcoin gains, which is great because you know what? These people were just insufferable before that. They thought, oh, we're working around a government. Please give me a break. You think the United States is going to give up its ability to develop currency, the world currency? What are you, insane? That's just crazy talk. Anyway, that's a monopoly. You don't give that up unless you want to be in the poorhouse. But now, here's interesting. Trump passed Bitcoin, these crypto guys really backed Trump, and Trump rewarded them with the Genius Act, which really supports the development of stablecoins. Now, here's where it gets interesting. I think that their bet on Trump seems to have worked on the surface, but underneath the surface, I think it's going to really hurt the crypto industry because there are a few stablecoin operators out there now, according to the Genius Act, you can do stablecoins backed by short-term US debt, dollars, et cetera, or other dollar equivalents. So basically, Trump's big idea was, my goodness, we could use these stablecoins to actually help with debt. They have to back these stablecoins with debt. So stablecoins are likely, as currency, will take off if mass adoption continues, because again, they're dollar-backed assets, like money market mutual funds that just invest in treasuries or dollars. So I could see stablecoin companies that are backing their stablecoins in US dollars and US bonds as a currency replacement. Absolutely, I can see that. That is logical to me. That makes sense. But I imagine it's getting taken away from Bitcoin. The very Genius Act hammers the Bitcoin narrative. It really is funny, and I'm not sure many of the people who follow Bitcoin and swear by it really get this yet. It's really funny. I don't think Trump did them really any favors, thank God, because my goodness, that would be some kind of stupid to devalue the US dollar in exchange for this BS. Anyway, I don't want to sound like the crusty old guy who missed out on Bitcoin and I have resentment. It's just not the way I see the world. Life is too good for me to be that angry about it. But I do view this as some kind of special delusion. When Bitcoin came out, I went around and I sat down with the smartest people I know who are touting this stuff, many people that you have heard of, I am quite sure. And I asked each one of them what the deal is. And they all like, it's this, it's a blockchain, it's that. And none of them could get past my questioning on the logic trap. They all fell into logic traps. So look, the other thing, and I'll end on this, the other issue with these Bitcoins, and I think this is actually a structural problem with Bitcoin, is people end up putting all these leveraged bets on it, so that it seems that whenever it starts to tank, all these leverage bets get called in because it's a finite supply. We think it's a finite supply, but you can actually increase the supply by adding leverage. So I've wondered, and I've posted this theory, and I've talked about it here before, if the very finite supply that makes it so appealing to so many smart people, genuinely smart people, actually hurts it, because it also makes it appealing to people who want to use exotic debt instruments to mimic the increase of supply. So maybe that's a critical flaw. We don't know yet. Anyway, this is my Bitcoin. I'm going to get off my stand here. I've been just pontificating a little bit on Bitcoin. This is my 2 cents. Again, I think there's better places to put your money. Maybe Bitcoin works, maybe it doesn't, but that's above my pay grade. Anyway, that's all I have today. Speak to you tomorrow. Have a wonderful day.